CM Punk thought he was safe in his own city. He thought Chicago was his fortress, his home, his untouchable ground. He thought that what he said about Roman Reigns' father would have no immediate consequence. He was wrong. Solo Siko found him in Chicago. And what happened next was not a wrestling segment, it was street justice delivered on behalf of the entire Anoa'i family. You do not disrespect the family. You do not disrespect the father. And CM Punk just found out in the most brutal, most personal, most completely overwhelming way possible exactly what happens when Solo Siko is sent to deliver a message with no rules, no referees, and absolutely no mercy. Suplex Rumble Nation, welcome back. I am your host, and today we are covering something that transcends the usual boundaries of WWE programming completely. Because what Solo Siko did to CM Punk in Chicago, in Punk's own city, on Punk's own ground, in the specific environment that the best in the world has always considered his most protected and most empowering home base, was not a wrestling angle in the conventional sense. It was a statement. A family statement. Delivered by the Bloodline's most physically terrifying enforcer on behalf of a family whose honor had been challenged in the most personal, most unacceptable possible way. CM Punk said something about Roman Reigns' father. And the Anoa'i family through Solo Siko, in Chicago, without warning, and without the structural protection of a WWE production environment, responded with the specific language that is the only adequate answer to that specific provocation. Street justice. Complete. Devastating. Unforgettable. Subscribe if you are new. Hit that notification bell. Drop a comment right now. Did CM Punk go too far when he brought Roman Reigns' father into this rivalry? Let's get this community's verdict before we go into every extraordinary detail of what Solo Siko delivered in Chicago. Let's go! Before we talk about Solo Siko's Chicago ambush, before we break down every moment of the street justice that was delivered, we need to spend real, honest, unsparing time on what CM Punk said that made this response not just predictable but inevitable. Because in professional wrestling, in the specific, carefully calibrated world of heel-face dynamics and promo warfare and the verbal chess match that precedes and surrounds every significant rivalry, there are levels of provocation. There are things you say that are aggressive. Things you say that are personal. Things you say that cross from competitive trash talk into genuine personal attack. And then there is what CM Punk said about Roman Reigns' father. CM Punk's verbal ability is one of the most celebrated in professional wrestling history. The best in the world's capacity to identify the specific psychological pressure point of any opponent, the particular vulnerability, the particular sensitivity, the particular dimension of a rival's personal history that, when addressed directly and publicly, produces the maximum emotional disruption, is unparalleled in the modern WWE era. Which means when CM Punk goes after something, it is never random. The specific target of his verbal attack is always chosen with precision, always selected because its disruption potential is higher than any alternative target available. Always delivered with the full awareness of what it is going to produce. He knew what he was saying about Roman Reigns' father. He knew the weight it carried. He knew the specific, profound significance of family and paternal legacy within the Anoa'i family culture, a culture where the respect due to elders and parents is not a casual social convention but a foundational value that runs through every dimension of how this family understands itself and its place in professional wrestling history. He said it anyway. Because CM Punk's competitive philosophy has always been that the most effective weapon is the one that genuinely hurts. And there are very few things that hurt Roman Reigns more genuinely than a public, deliberate, disrespectful invocation of his father's name and legacy. The WWE Universe received it with the complicated reaction that CM Punk's most effective promos always generate: part shock at the audacity, part reluctant acknowledgement of the precision, part genuine discomfort at the specific nature of the target. Because even for CM Punk, even for the performer whose willingness to go to uncomfortable places has always been part of his competitive identity, this felt like a line being crossed rather than simply pushed. Roman Reigns received it with the specific, cold fury of a man whose family has been disrespected in the most personal possible way. And Solo Siko, the Bloodline's enforcer, the physical consequence delivery mechanism of the family's decisions, received his assignment. Go to Chicago. Find CM Punk. And make sure he understands what disrespecting this family costs. The choice of Solo Siko as the instrument of the Bloodline's response to CM Punk's disrespect is not simply the obvious selection of the family's most physically imposing member. It is a statement in itself, communicating specific things about the nature of the response and the seriousness with which Roman Reigns received the provocation. Solo Siko in 2026 is the most terrifying physical presence in the WWE landscape. Not just in terms of size, though the combination of physical dimensions and athletic capability he possesses is extraordinary enough to make him the most imposing figure in any building he enters, but in terms of the specific quality of physical danger that he represents. The kind that does not perform for cameras or calibrate itself to the structural expectations of a WWE production environment. Solo Siko in a WWE ring is dangerous. Controlled, directed, operating within the parameters of a scheduled match with its bell-to-bell structure and referee presence and the implicit understanding that violence exists within limits. Solo Siko in Chicago, on a street assignment from Roman Reigns, with no cameras and no referees and no structural parameters, is something categorically different. Something that the best in the world, for all his competitive experience across all the physically dangerous environments he has navigated, had never encountered in quite this specific form. The assignment itself, going to Chicago, to CM Punk's home city, to deliver the Bloodline's response on Punk's own ground, is also a deliberate message. Not waiting for the next Raw. Not scheduling a confrontation within the structured WWE programming environment where Punk's home city advantage, his crowd connection, and the production framework of Monday Night Television would provide him with resources and buffers. Going to Chicago removes all of that. It finds CM Punk on his terms in his city, in his environment, and demonstrates that the Bloodline's reach extends beyond the arena walls, beyond the broadcast schedule, beyond the structural protections that WWE programming provides to even its most controversial performers. Solo Siko was sent to deliver a message in the place where CM Punk feels most untouchable, because the most effective messages are the ones delivered where the recipient least expects to receive them. Chicago's relationship with CM Punk is one of the most celebrated performer-city connections in modern professional wrestling history. The specific, hometown pride that Chicago brings to every CM Punk appearance, the specific, louder, more personal, more deeply invested version of the best in the world chance that Punk's home city generates has always been one of his most significant competitive assets. Chicago crowds do not simply cheer CM Punk. They claim him. They own him. They receive him as a specific expression of their city's identity, the scrappy, confrontational, never-back-down ethos that Chicago brings to everything, being embodied in a professional wrestler who was born and built in their city and who represents, in his specific competitive philosophy, something genuinely Chicago in its DNA. This relationship, the specific, mutual, deeply personal connection between CM Punk and Chicago, has made the city a kind of fortress for him in the WWE landscape. A place where his emotional support is maximum, where his crowd connection is its most intense, where the energy of the environment functions almost as a competitive advantage independent of any scheduled match or storyline development. Solo Siko going to Chicago, entering this specific environment with a specific assignment that had nothing to do with the scheduled WWE programming and everything to do with the Bloodline's response to a family disrespect, was itself an act of extraordinary competitive audacity. Chicago was CM Punk's ground. Solo Siko went there anyway. The city's reaction to what unfolded, the witnesses who captured moments of the ambush, the online response from the Chicago wrestling community, the specific disbelief that Punk's home ground was violated with this completeness, was the secondary expression of a primary statement that Solo Siko had already made simply by showing up. Nowhere is safe. Not even Chicago. Not even home. The ambush itself, the specific moment when Solo Siko found CM Punk in Chicago and delivered the Bloodline's response to the disrespect of Roman Reigns' father, is the centerpiece of everything, and it deserves reconstruction with every detail this channel can honor. CM Punk in Chicago outside the structured WWE environment occupies a specific kind of space. The best in the world's comfort in his home city, the relaxed, familiar, completely unguarded quality of someone operating in the environment they know most, completely meant that whatever awareness he carries of potential threats in WWE production environments was operating at reduced capacity. Home does that to people. Even the most vigilant, most strategically aware professional wrestlers allow their guard to relax in the places that feel safest. Chicago felt safe to CM Punk. It always had. Solo Siko arrived without announcement. Without the WWE production machinery that telegraphs confrontations in the structured programming environment. Without the music or the entrance or the approach.